Super Bowl 54 Sunday night in Miami. The San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs. Looking forward to this game. Should be a good one. And it could be a great one if we knock down some bets. We're going to talk about over-under plays for Super Bowl 54 in just a minute. But if you're looking to bet on this football game, head over to crossingbroad.com. We have all of the best promotional offers in your state if betting is legalized there. And also be sure to check out DraftKings Sportsbook, crossingbroad.com/DK, up to $1,000 of free bets. Also a plus 300 moneyline offer on either the Chiefs or the 49ers to win the game straight up on bets up to $20. Be sure to check that out as well. All right, so we have the 49ers, high-scoring team this postseason. The electrifying Chiefs offense. If you like points, theoretically, this game should be right up your alley. Obviously, 2 years ago, Eagles-Patriots, 74 combined points in Super Bowl 52. Last year, however, not so much. Only 16 points in a 13-3 Patriots win over the Rams. You had to wait more than 3 quarters for the game's first touchdown when Sony Michel finally found the end zone in the fourth quarter. Let's take a look at the current odds in this game. Obviously, you see that Kansas City is a 1.5-point favorite, but our focus is on the total. It is currently 54 points at DraftKings Sportsbook, opened at 51.5 and has since climbed a full 2.5 points all the way up to 54. So for the purposes of full disclosure, in the 2 Chiefs games leading into the Super Bowl, they were at home, and I played a trend of Andy Reid home teams, especially in the postseason, not going over the total. That backfired twice. So take all of this with a grain of salt. But we looked at this game from a lot of different angles, and here's what we found. Listen, nobody wants to bet the under, especially in a game like the Super Bowl. Getting out to midfield and hitting coffin corner punts doesn't exactly make memories happen. But there could be some potential value on the under, especially with the line movement that we've seen throughout the first week and a half leading up to the Super Bowl following the championship round. So let's take a look at why betting the under makes some sense. If we go back to the 03 season, the under is 43-36 in all NFL games with a closing total between 54 and 56 points. It's also 6-3 the under is in postseason games when the total closes between 54 and 56 points. So that is where we're kind of starting, and then working off of that, the under is also 7-3-1 in the 11 Super Bowls with the highest closing totals. So historically speaking, when we see monster totals in the Super Bowl, we're getting under plays, and that applied to last year's game between the Patriots and Rams as well. We had a total that was sitting in the mid-50s to upper 50s in that game, and it never even came close. And finally, the under is also 5-1 in the last 6 Super Bowls with a total set at least 50 points. So again, playing off the idea that we have a higher total here, historically speaking, both recently and going back through the decades, we have lower scoring games with these big totals. Now, if you look at the board behind me here, you can tell by the sheer volume of notes that we only had a few for the under and we have a lot on the over, and that'll probably give you some insight as to where I am headed with my totals pick. Let's start here though. Just a little note to be aware of: the over is 26-25-1 in Super Bowl history. There was no total set in Super Bowl I, and that's why we only have 52 results despite the fact that we've played 53 Super Bowls. I'm starting with Andy Reid. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan has a much smaller, much shorter track record as a head coach, but we can look at a long record for Andy Reid. And we know that the over is 16-11-1 in Reid's games with the Chiefs when the total closes at 50 points or higher. High total games coached by Andy Reid tend to go over. So we're starting there. And off of that, the over is also 18-12 in games starting at 6 p.m. or later during Andy Reid's Chiefs tenure, including 5-2 when the total closes at 54 points or higher. So 2 things to blend in there. Late starts, obviously, Super Bowl kicking off after 6 p.m. We'll call it a primetime game. Andy Reid in the over, usually a good pairing. And when it's a night game with a higher total, 54 or more, 5-2 the over is. So those things kind of combine together to suggest that the over might be the right play here, at least from a historical sense. Also know that in the last 8 Super Bowls with a spread of 3 points or less, remember Kansas City, 1.5-point favorite right now. The over is 6-2. It's also 4-1. The last 5 times the NFC West has played in the Super Bowl. So again, short spreads, big point totals has been the recent trend. And finally, 2 quick points here. The over is 9-4 in postseason games when it receives at least 70% of the total handle. For those of you that don't know, the handle is the amount of money, not the number of bets, but the amount of money thrown on a side. Right now, as we record this early in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, the public is all over the over. Nearly 80% of the money coming in on the over right now. That's something to keep an eye on. You would think, hey, go against the grain, go against the public, but that has not been the case when at least 70% of the handle is on the over. Again, 9-4 in postseason games. That's going back to the 03 postseason. And starting with Super Bowl 36, so we're working off of roughly the last 20 years here. The last 5 times a Super Bowl stayed under 40 points. Remember, only 16 points scored last year. The following game averaged 58.4 points per game. So we've seen low-scoring contests followed by explosive offensive performances. Again, does this trend here necessarily have anything to do with the 49ers and Chiefs on Sunday night and the way the game's going to be played? Maybe not. But when we look at this, very rarely do we see low-scoring Super Bowls, especially recently, pieced together year after year. So when it comes to locking in a play on the total in this game, listen, I have some concerns about the fact that we've lost value now that the line opened at 51.5 and has since moved to 54 as we talk here early in the week. Again, it could continue to climb. Maybe it comes back to earth a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. But as it stands now at 54 points, I look at this game. I like the historical trends that suggest that this thing is going to go over. I also believe that San Francisco is going to open up the passing game this time around. We will not see 8 pass attempts from Jimmy Garoppolo in this football game. I think they know they're going to have to throw the ball and throw it effectively to win. I expect there to be some big-time explosive plays on both sides of the football. Maybe the defense sets up some scoring opportunities for the offenses on both sides. I believe that one way or another, though, however, that this game is going to get over the total of 54 points. I don't like it as much as I like the Chiefs, but I'll go with the over. All right, we have spreads, game totals, novelty props, player props. You name it, you can bet on it in Super Bowl 54. And if you're looking to get in on the action, once again, head over to crossingbroad.com. Tons of great offers and bonuses for all the legal online sportsbooks in your state. And also be sure to check out DraftKings Sportsbook, crossingbroad.com/DK, up to $1,000 in free bets ahead of Super Bowl 54. And don't forget, plus 300 odds on both the Chiefs and the 49ers to win the game, $20 max bets. Be sure to take advantage of it by signing up at crossingbroad.com/DK.